Technology, the most common answer to humanity's most common problems. The development of new technology has allowed our species to survive and prosper, probably longer than it should have. But at what point do we stop developing the technology we need and start developing the technology that we want? As a society of highly evolved apes, what is it that we need and what is it that we want? Have we gone too far with the development of our technology? And do the creators care about the ethics of any of this? Probably not. That's what I'm going to be looking into today. But before we start to look at specific subjects, first we need to identify the three main ways of tackling ethics problems. Because of course it's not as simple as just doing them. The first is deontology. Deontology is a belief that suggests if actions are good or bad based on an existing set of rules. For example, shooting an intruder, killing is wrong. To protect your family, protecting them is right. Deontologists must weigh up the pros and cons of both actions. Just because the outcome is favourable doesn't mean the actions are always worth it. The second is consequentialism. This is the approach that the ends justify the means. Any action is worth taking in order to create a favourable outcome. For consequentialists, it doesn't matter how bad the actions are, meaning in the example used previously, they would shoot the intruder without a second thought. The third is virtue ethics. This is a more personal approach rather than adhering to an existing set of rules like deontology, but rather personal ones. What actions achieve self-virtue? In the example, they would most likely shoot the intruder to protect the family. Now that all the big words are out of the way, let's talk about self-driving cars, shall we? Self-driving cars have been a concept for decades. They're the stereotypical futuristic item. However, with technology being what it is, this invention is not as far away as you'd think. Companies like Apple and Tesla have already begun experimenting with self-driving cars, and all the problems that come with them. The problem with self-driving cars is that the human isn't the one making the decision, or rather they kind of are. See, when you're in a car accident and you're driving along, and then a boulder comes out of nowhere. Boulder on the road. What do? Naturally, you instinctively go away. You pick away, you go. You don't really think about it. Your only process is avoid the big obstacle in front of me. Self-driving cars wouldn't look at it like that because they're programmed by a human, meaning they'll have sensors that see things, i.e. they won't just look at the big rock in front of you. They'll look at the little child and the small flock of geese either side of you. The reason they're so controversial is because a human will program this car to make that decision, meaning someone else is basically making a decision of who lives and dies for you, rather than an instinctive reaction. The problem with that is that everyone has a different attitude to ethics. Now, I personally tested this by creating this. This is a survey that I whipped up in about 10 minutes. It's just a little test that I gave to a few people just to see what their reactions would be. So you're going to see that footage now. Hi, completely willing volunteer. Are you ready to fill in this survey?
I am.
Yeah! No.
Too bad. Right, you're filling in these. Thank you for filling out the thumbs. Give me that. Give me that. Give me that. Thank you. Thank you.
You look kind of fit today.
Okay. Okay, get out.
What a day. Open the door.
Get out! Did I change positions just to get the cat in the shot? Yes, I did. It's my video, don't judge. But looking at these survey results, the general gist is a lot of people seem to go for the same sort of things. For the most part, pretty much everyone killed the inmates. One person killed the CEOs. Everyone picked 20 random people over 2 family members. However, one of these sticks out to me, and it's kind of the reason you're here. There was one person that went full-on cat warrior and decided to save all the cats, and decided to not hit the cats. Everyone hit the cats except for this one person, so thank you, one person, you know who you are. There's a cat drawing on that one, this is very good. I'd save you. Now, obviously that's just a survey I whipped up in 10 minutes, but the fact is there are people that have to code those kind of decisions into a self-driving car. The issue with the ethics rises when there is actively someone choosing who lives and who dies. Next, let's talk about space travel. Space travel is a technology that's been experimented with since the 1960s. However, the concept's use has drastically changed since then. Originally, this technology was supposed to be a demonstration of a country's power during the space race between the Soviet Union and the United States. Humanity then managed to put a man on the moon in 1969, showing the world the potential of space travel. There were many missions to the moon over the years, some more successful than others, but as the years went on and the development of rockets became more advanced, people began to speculate. What if this tech was available to everyone? It's been referenced in sci-fi media for years, but what if this technological breakthrough was actually possible? Currently, there are three major contenders in commercial space travel. The first being Elon Musk, the CEO of Tesla and SpaceX. He claims that commercial space travel will be possible for under $1 million. His aim is directly next to the Earth, the red planet, Mars. The second is Richard Branson, who himself has been to space thanks to his Virgin Galactic program. It was a huge success and inspired confidence in potential space travel. The third is Jeff Bezos, who launched himself into space on July 20th, 2021. This was the third instance of non-professionals in space commercially, and this is where the conversation really started to heat up. If space travel was to become a reality, what would be the pros and cons? As the human race, is it ethically correct to venture off our homeworld and find another planet? Let's discuss this using the three methods of thinking about ethics. Deontologists could have the view that, as humans, we were born to planet Earth, and thus, rather than jump ship and abandon our native planet, we should work towards preserving it. Alternatively, they could believe that humans going interplanetary is the next step in our evolution. It depends on the person's community-given rule set being either scientific or religious. Consequentialists could be both for and against space travel. It depends on some certain objective pros and cons. For example, the pros would include expanding the space travel market. By doing this, eventually it'll be cheap enough for everyone to afford, so going to Mars would be like getting on a bus to London. However, they could be against it for the exact same reason. At first, the only people doing the space travel would be rich and powerful billionaires like the three people stated earlier. Because of the societal bias, they might believe that it would take too long to justify, hence why they'd be against it. People who go by virtual ethics are a lot harder to pin down because, again, it's going to be different for everyone because virtual ethics is your own personal rule set. Again, people could be for it because of things like the next step in our evolution and interplanetary travel is cool. But then again, they could be against it because of the class division it could create. So I went out and I actually asked some people what their thoughts are on space travel to see if these groups are actually accurate to the way people think about these kind of problems. Yeah, if you could just tell me a bit about yourself.
Hi, my name is Janet Sargeant. I worked in the city for over 20 years in Treasury settlements. Then I was a stay-at-home mum and I looked after my son for about 13, 14 years. I now work at John Lewis in the menswear department and I've been there nearly 6 years.
And are you associated with her?
And I'm associated with this lovely little cat called Marvel, who is my second child.
My name's Tim and I like classic cars and I support West Ham.
Now, if you could get on a rocket to space as easily as you could a bus to London, would you?
Yes, definitely. I'd always wanted to explore the universe.
Depends where in space it was going.
Let's just say the moon.
The moon? Oh, I don't know. How long does it take to get to the moon?
Well,
A couple of days?
we're assuming it's a technology similar to that of a bus, half an hour.
Well, I don't know. If it takes a few days to get to that, take you to the moon, that's a long time to sit on a bus. You get a numb bum, wouldn't you?
What are your views on commercial space travel? Were you for or against it?
To a certain degree, I'm against it because it's only the rich people that can afford it. If it was more easy access for normal people to use it, then I would be for it. But I feel that the money that is spent on it could be well spent in this world trying to sort out climate change and helping the poor.
I think I'm for in as much as we should explore space. I don't know to what end it would be useful, unless the Earth was going to end and we could all migrate to other planets, but I don't really see that happening.
What benefits does space travel create for humanity?
Well, I think we discovered a few things with space travel. A few things have been discovered in the past with the Apollo missions, I believe. But I don't think it will really help our world to a massive extent, really.
Alright, that's all the questions. Thank you for your time.
None whatsoever, really. Creates a bit of interest, and we can learn a few things and do experiments and that sort of thing to test stuff. But apart from that, I don't think it helps humanity.
And are you associated with her?
Yes.
Okay, that's all. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your time. So after interviewing those two, I can actually say that the methods of tackling ethics problems are actually pretty accurate. Janet seemed to be a bit of a mix between deontology and consequentialism, with Tim being a pure consequentialist. But they both seem to agree that space travel really wouldn't exactly do much for, this Earth, and that we should continue to persevere on this Earth and not just abandon ship. In conclusion, ethics are always going to be a highly debated topic, and no two people are ever going to agree on everything. But the general conception is that the billionaires will continue to produce this technology for no other reason than profit. Yes, there will be people that benefit from this, but it will mostly just be the rich. The creators of technology do have a moral obligation to make sure it's fit for purpose and safe, meaning at the very least they somewhat care for human life.